All right, welcome to another episode of Closers Are Losers. Now, we have a special guest on here, special character. He's all the way over in our Perth, Australia office, like completely on the opposite side of the planet. You know, we're getting in towards the evening here, the end of the workday here in our Scottsdale, Arizona, USA headquarters. Dan Van, he's our lead account executive. He's over there, like I said, in our Perth, Australian office. And I believe you're 20 hours ahead of us? So it's like early in the morning.
Well, it's 15.
Oh, it's
15
only
from Arizona. Yeah.
So what time is it on the next morning? Because what time is it where you're at the next morning?
So it's 8 a.m. in the morning right now.
So it's 8 a.m. here. It's 5:12 here. So that is and I'm like, you're like a day ahead of us, which is kind of crazy for me to think of. So the reason why I wanted to bring Dan on here, first of all, Matt's traveling. Matt, our CEO, is headquartered in our Sydney, Australia office, and him and Marco Cortese, our chief revenue officer, on a flight over here to visit us over here in our Scottsdale, Arizona office. So they're going to be here the next 2 or 3 days. And then we've got a training seminar in Dallas a little bit after that with some of our own internal reps for the company. So they're on a plane right now. So I'm like, who are we going to have here? So I wanted to interview you. Now, what I wanted to talk with you about is, first of all, congratulations. Every quarter, so every month we have top account executive for the month. We call that the beast of the month. So they get like a big trophy and all this cool stuff every quarter. So the top account executive who brings in the most volume, has the highest, I hate to say closing percentages, but, brings in the most volume, the most business to the company, that wins the award of Savage of the Quarter. And the Savage of the Quarter, they win one of these. They win a nice Breitling watch. All right. So every 3 months, hand out one of those big Breitling watches. So Dan, congratulations. You won.
Thank you very much.
Breitling watch is the Savage of the Quarter. And then the person who wins the account executive of the year for overall volume for the whole year gets an all expenses paid vacation to a surprise location we have not announced to you guys yet. You don't even know about this yet. So anyways, welcome to the Breitling Club. You've crushed it. You recently got promoted to the lead account executive.
Thank you, Jeremy.
I wanted to talk to you about, so first of all, let's just take everybody back. How long have you actually been in sales? Because I believe you were in sales before you obviously started working here at 7th Level. And you've been with 7th Level 2 years now, almost?
2 years. I've been in sales for about 2.5 years in total.
So about 6 months. That's right. You were one of our clients. I think you went through like one of our NEPQ 3.0 version.
Correct.
What did you sell before we hired?
So just to give you, I'll keep it brief as I can. I was actually an electrician before this, Jeremy. Okay. I had my own company. I did my 4-year apprenticeship, was in business for about 3 years after that. And unfortunately for me, I actually hurt myself. I love being an electrician, but there's always a side of me that said, I don't think I can crawl through roof spaces anymore. So what that meant was I was losing passion. Unfortunately for me, I hurt myself digging some holes, getting some cables through. And that forced me in a position where I had to either work from home because I was paralyzed for about 6 or 7 months. I had no other way to make income. So knowing me, electrical was just handing in a bid, sending through a proposal. Someone accepts it. Okay, they accept it. They want to lower the price. That's what I'll do. So I was like, why don't I just, because I'm injured, I can work from home. Why don't I just start a digital marketing agency? Okay. Right. So because I started a digital marketing agency, I used the same way of selling of what I thought was selling to clients in the online space using now what I know, outdated sales tactics. Yeah. And because of that, I was reconsidering ever doing any sort of business again because the amount of rejection that I got, I don't even know where to start. I was getting people that are telling me to basically screw off. You're just another sales guy. And then I just wasn't making any income. So I had to find a way before I invested into the more advanced training with the 7th Level team before coming on as one of the executives.
So you got into like what is now known as more of our advanced NEPQ 3.0 portals and group coaching and stuff like that. And that was 2 years ago. That was, I think you had the other sales job before you worked here at seventh level, right?
Correct. Okay. Correct. That's right.
That when you started learning NEPQ?
Yes, correct. So I already invested into NEPQ before even starting any sales job.
Then you got, what did you get hired as? What were you selling at that point?
So I was selling fitness, $35 commissions. It was the greatest job ever, but the amount of objections that I got made me really want to reconsider after showing my digital marketing agency. Because I invested into the NEPQ system, I just started seeing a significant change in my income, which got me, I guess, like, it got me drafted into bigger things because
when we make $35 commissions, like, look, we can give you the best training on planet Earth, right? But getting a $35 commission, and let's say you're making 10 sales a day, that's only $350 a day. Like, we can't really get you up to $200,000 or $300,000 a year in income or more with a $35 commission for what you were selling.
That's correct. So I had to find a different way, had to find a different vehicle. So that's when I approached Matt. And he only had an appointment setting job. So I started at the very bottom and I was happy to do that.
Right. So that's how it happened. So Matt came on right around that time as our new CEO of the company and started hiring, more appointment setters, like SDRs, right? Like booking appointments and stuff like that. So in our company, typically that's where most people start, unless they already have unless they're really, really crushing it in their sales position from being our advanced training. So you kind of started at the bottom, right? And you kind of pretty quickly worked your way up. You started as an SDR, booking appointments, DM, stuff like that. How many months did it take you before you got into a sales position in the company?
Well, I know that you're a big fan of Tony Robbins as well, Jeremy. So I think it was one of the trainings that I did with Tony Robbins. I hated being a SDR, but I didn't have the skills to, be an account executive and do those higher packages yet. So one thing that stuck out to me was never major in minor things. So even though I was an SDR, an appointment setter, social media DMer, I always thought of myself as that person that already had those skills, which meant that the outcomes that I needed to get there, I already had to be doing them or studying them in advance. So for me, I was an SDR on the team for about 6 months, right? Before that executive decision by you guys, upper management was just like, hey, we're going to let you take your first calls. So
we're going to start your own sales calls now. How did that feel? So, and I want everybody listening, because, if you're a salesperson, a sales professional, let's say you're a sales manager, even if you're a business owner listening to us right now, you know what it's like. You kind of move up the ranks and then you're finally on your first sales call. It's like the nerves are like, oh, what am I going to do? How was that your first couple of weeks? Because you were really learning, advanced NEPQ 3.0, even while you're an SDR, which really helped you grow pretty quick. You started booking a lot of appointments and you moved up. But how was it like when you first started?
I was really nervous because from selling, $35 commissions, just like $100 memberships to something I never even thought I would be able to do. There was a bit of imposter syndrome, but also, I guess, kind of talking to business owners and sales professionals that are more successful than me at the time. I was just so nervous.
You're a little bit intimidated.
So nervous. Yeah, for sure.
So then you moved up, you started making 6 figures, then it went to multiple 6 figures. Now you make way too much money, just way too much commissions. I look at your, Matt doesn't really, he just tells me because I never look at what you guys make, but man, you're doing well when you start making like $300,000-$400,000 plus grand a year. So congratulations, well done. Probably still learning, going to make more, but you're able to help people that come to us really solve problems that sometimes they don't realize they have. And that's why I wanted to bring you on here, because a lot of times, when we have, when people book calls with us, they see me on an IG live, they might see me on an IG reel or a TikTok reel, or they see some, post, because we post religiously, 2 times a day on IG, 2 times a day on LinkedIn, 2 times a day on TikTok, 2 times a day in our Facebook group, 2 times a day on my Facebook, 2 times a day on YouTube, 2 times a day in our Facebook business page. Plus we do 2 reels a day on all those. So like we're everywhere all the time. So people start to see that trend and like, oh, this guy knows something that maybe I don't know, or they'll try and they're like, oh my gosh, I made more sales. Like I need to book with this company because I want everything. I want to learn all these skills rather than just the little hors d'oeuvres and nuggets that Jeremy gives out on these reels and stuff. And so sometimes when they get on with you, they might even be doing halfway decent. Let's say they're making $4 or $5 grand a month as a sale. Let's just talk as a salesperson right now, not a business owner, but where they might be, have some experience or maybe making 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 15 grand a month. But when you get on with them and you kind of ask them some questions, what type of gap are you able to help them maybe see that they didn't even know they had? Like maybe what type of problems you're able to help them see that maybe they didn't think.
Well, I think you mentioned in the advanced training, the biggest expense in life is the problems that you don't have. Yeah. So when your ability is to ask very skilled questions at the right time in specific order that draws out the emotions and the root cause of the problem, right? People don't know what they need, right? So for me, personally, being on the team for about 2 years now, right? Like, I think that there's a big misconception of what sales is, right? You talk a lot about the era 1 selling,
That's
era
true.
2 selling.
A lot of people think that selling is just like wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, like clobber them on the head, manipulate them, push them, pressure them so you can make a commission. But really, that's what average salespeople do in 2022, right?
100%. I personally agree with that, and that's just my perspective.
Yeah,
could be wrong.
So a lot of salespeople get on there and they're like, because I here's what I always say. I always say low 6-figure salespeople. So I'm talking about salespeople that make 100 grand, 120, 150, 200, even 250. Most of the time have very high egos, like large egos. And their large ego, they think they know everything about selling because they make 6 figures a year. And that's why they stay stuck at that level. Whereas Dan, like you, because you kept learning, you make twice as much as those people do because you kept learning, right? So when you're taking them through this process, because our process, when somebody books a call, is not like we're not pressuring people into learning advanced skills so they can sell more. We're first helping them see what their real situation is. Like, what is their current state? How much are they really making on average? Not your best month. I make 10 grand a month. Was that what you make every month? Well, no, usually I make 5 or whatever it is. So we're able to help them see in their mind what their real situation is, right? And then really help them understand where they want to be. So we call, here's their situation. If you can see me, maybe you're watching me on YouTube. Here's their current situation. We call that their current state, right? Situation questions help them find that. Here's where they want to be. We call that their objective state. Now, what's the gap? The gap is all these newfound problems that sometimes the salesperson didn't realize they actually had, right? So what's a question sometimes you ask in the beginning of that conversation, maybe in the first 5-10 minutes, that really helps them see that maybe they have some problems that they didn't realize they had? Give us an example.
Well, yeah, so it starts off with connecting with the prospect, right?
Yeah.
Right. So when I didn't have advanced skills at the time, I would just be pushing an assumption that they have a problem, right? But like, we really want to understand, like, why are they here? Like, what are they? What attracted their attention to possibly like even schedule the call in the first place? It is so important to even understand why they're here and what they're looking for first. Because if you base questions off what you think they need, it could probably dial in the wrong problem from the very beginning.
Yeah, exactly. And here's the thing, like most prospects, and this is the truth for any industry. Most of your prospects you talk to in any industry don't really know what they need when they first start talking to you. Let's just be realistic. Okay. Yeah. Now that's why you can never sell to just the needs of the prospect. Like in any industry, if somebody gets on with you, let's say they get on Zoom with you. I'm just going to throw out an example. It'd be the same if you're in their home or if you're in a boardroom meeting with the business owner, executive team. It doesn't really matter. Okay. Most of your prospects, if they come and say, well, we need this and this and this, or we feel like we have this and this problem. Well, what do most salespeople do? They're like, oh, you have that problem? Well, let me tell you about, and they jump right into their solution because they're like, oh, I got to sell to their needs. They just told me what their needs are, so I got to sell to those needs. But here's the problem. Just like, Steve, the late, great Steve Jobs said, most of your prospects don't really know what they need, right? When you first start talking to them. Now, they might think they know what their problem is, but they don't really know how bad that problem is. Or maybe they don't understand what the consequences are if they don't do anything about solving that problem. What you learn, what we train you in our virtual training courses and our advanced group trainings with our sales trainers, not only will you be, as whatever you sell listening to us, be able to help the prospect find one problem, but you're now able to help them find 2 or 3 or 4 or maybe 5 other problems they didn't even realize they had. And when you're able to help them find 3 or 4 or 5 other problems they didn't know they had, how do you think they start to view you? They don't view you. Trusted advisor. Yeah, they view you as the authority, the trusted authority, the expert who's going to get them where they want to go. How do they view all your competitors? Well, they just view them just like all the other salespeople that have ever tried to sell them, and they push them off in the corner and they commoditize them. That's a massive difference. So, okay, so let's keep talking about this. So you're kind of, you're finding out more details about, we'll just talk about individual salespeople, business owners. We'll talk about that in a second. You're helping the individual salespeople find out, here's where I'm at. Here's what I'm making now. Okay. How many people are you talking to per week? Out of those, let's say 20 people you're talking to, I'm just throwing out random numbers. Let's say you're closing 5. Well, what are you saying? And feel like you're not asking that's causing the other 15, even though they booked on your calendar or they requested information or responded to an ad, what's causing the other 15 people to not purchase what you're offering and stay in the status quo? And that, I think that gets the salesperson to think like, oh, maybe it's not the leads. Maybe it's what I'm saying. Maybe it's what I'm not asking that's actually triggering all those other people that are not buying to run the other way. Whereas most salespeople, I think, just blame it on the leads. Like, oh, the leads I talked to, they suck. They just have a bunch of fear. Or they're all broke. And we always blame the prospects. Whereas the top salespeople, we look like, okay, what am I doing wrong? What am I not asking? What am I not saying that's triggering these people to run the other way? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, we all live in a digital age, and we all want opportunities to come to us. Yeah. Right. But if we can statistically look at the accolades that you've done, Jeremy, 60% of your income came from reaching out and getting new business.
Sure. Right? And a couple of industries I was in, I had to cold call, outbound prospecting, just to cold call. They weren't like buyer leads. They weren't people that, bought something for $50 and requested more information. These are like quite literally so I was in 4 industries in my 17 years. 2 were B2C, 2 B2B. And both of my B2B, I had to do a lot of cold calling, prospecting, probably brought in, I would say about half of the business that I brought in from that. The others were inbound leads and referrals and stuff. But I digress. Keep going. I cut you off.
Yeah. So like what we never want to rely is the influencers or accounts' ability to dictate our income. Because let's just say there's weeks that you do 20 calls per week. Yeah. What if marketing goes down? What if like ad accounts just run out of credit limits? Right? You never want to rely on the influence ability, and that was a very key important takeaway from our CEO Matt, to dictate your income. So if God forbid that something happens to Facebook tomorrow, what are we going to do? We just got to twiddle our thumbs, or we're going to go out there and generate business. And the biggest problem that we find is that because of the way that clients have either been taught unconsciously, they're using outdated sales tactics that trigger people to not even want to do business with them or pick up the phone ever again. And why does that keep happening? Yeah. Right. That was a $1 million question I asked myself.
Hoping the salesperson that's on with you really see that maybe it's something they're saying. Maybe it's something they haven't learned. Like they've been forced to learn this old school way, and you just don't know what you don't know, right? Like if somebody said like, hey, this is the right way to sell, when you get into sales, you just accept it as the gospel, right? You don't know that maybe it's outdated. Maybe it works against human behavior. It's not like you were taught that in high school and college, right?
Yeah.
University. So sometimes a lot of, people that get on this, they just don't know what they don't know, right? No, there's, they don't really, when you say works against human behavior, what does that even mean, right? Like, what am I saying is triggering sales resistance? Because they blame the objections on the prospect, whereas in our world, with using human behavior, we know that most objections are triggered by us, the salespeople, by what we say or what we don't ask, that triggers uncertainty in the prospect's mind, that then triggers them to go into fight or flight mode and try to get rid of us and throw out objections.
So if you get fight or flight in the first 7 to 12 seconds, how will you be able to ask those uncomfortable questions where it matters to dictate whether the person will understand the true problems or not? Because they're so guarded, right? And that's what we find on the calls a lot.
Yeah, exactly. So you're able to help the person that's on there. Because look, everybody that books with us, like their heart's in the right place. They want to sell more. They want to be able to help more people, but they just don't have the right tools yet. They don't have the right ability to be able to do that, to get them to a level that our clients are, who, probably making 2, 3, 4 times more than they are, who are in this industry they're in. So once you're able to help that new salesperson or even the veteran salesperson realize, hey, you're doing good, but you could be a peer. How do they, what do you think ticks in their mind? Like what connects to get them to see that there's a gap there that maybe they didn't think they had?
Well, it's the ability to understand if they like the situation that they're trying to solve or the sales structure they're using, right? So because
like the results they're getting, because look, if you're making 5 or 6 or 8 or even 10 or even 12 or 15 grand a month, but you want to make 2 to 3 times more than that, how can you keep saying and doing what you've been doing to make 3 times more than what you are? You can't work 2 or 3 times as many hours, right?
Right. Exactly right. So when you ask specific problem questions, because a situation, like what we find is like when beforehand, before I did NEBQ, I was just asking very basic surface level questions. Like what is your goal?
What is your problem?
Yeah, and because of that, like what we find is that this is an information age. There's no lack of information, and because of the 2008 market crash, right? Like clients are a lot more skeptical, prospects are a lot more skeptical, right? So
over for sure, and it's about to even happen right now with the coming recession that everybody knows is coming in the next 2 to 3 months for sure.
Yeah. So when you're asking very consultative questions that are very logical, that don't drive the emotion, right? People just stay with logical answers.
Yeah, they
and
give
the ability,
surface level.
Yeah, and then the ability to diffuse that resistance so they can give you that emotion because they've either been burned in the past or they've been manipulated, right? Really has them lower their guard for you to, I guess, ask those difficult questions. Yeah, and because you're able to do that, they really believe in you, and your intention has to be throughout the whole call that you're helping them the whole time, is what we find.
Yeah, and look, everybody listen to us. Your intention when you get on a sales call or appointment, you have to start viewing yourself much differently than maybe the way you're viewing yourself now. Like you really have to view yourself as like, I'm here to help this person find problems that maybe they didn't think they had and help them solve those to get them where they want to go. That is my job as a salesman. And I get paid a lot of money for that. But if you think like, hey, I'm here, I'm a closer, I just want to close them, I'm gonna brag about closing them, I'm gonna make a commission, and that's how you go into the call with that mentality. Do you feel like your prospect's really going to pick up on that? You bet they are. They can feel that energy because.
And what if they find out that you're like that as well?
Well, it comes across in your words. It comes across in your tonality. It comes across and you don't really listen to them. So they don't feel like you understand their situation. And when your prospects don't feel like you understand their situation, they're really never going to move forward. They're going to have uncertainty. And so if you're getting a lot of objections now at the end of your sales calls or your sales process, whether you sell B2B or B2C, it's strictly because your question you've learned so far, probably consultative selling, is surface level. So your prospects you're not able to get them to go below the surface with you unless they're a lay down sale. Now we know, especially when a recession happens, what happens to the lay down sales? Most of them dry up. You're not going to get very many lay down sales in a recession because your prospects, everybody listen to me now, it's coming. I know it's coming. So we can either prepare for it now, or we can just get crushed or hope and pray that the president or your favorite politician is somehow going to save you from all the damage. Well, nobody's going to save you, boys and girls. You're only going to save yourself by your sales ability. That's how you're going to save yourself, all right? Because if you keep selling exactly the way you are now, that's gotten you to the income you are now in a really good economy the last 4, 5, 6, 7 years, I'm telling you, I went through it in 2008, 2009. Those same skill levels, any weaknesses that you have right now, which I can guarantee everybody listening right here has weaknesses. Otherwise, you'd be making millions of dollars a year in commissions, I can assure you. Every weakness you have in your sales process, your sales conversation will only be magnified by 10, and your prospects will be harder and harder to sell. They will keep stalling the decision longer and longer because of the uncertainty in the economy, uncertainty if they're going to be able to keep their job, uncertainty if they're still going to have the same income, prices are going higher. They don't know if the inflation is going to stop or go down. There's so much uncertainty that they're going to be more cautious, more skeptical, and more careful about making the wrong buying choices than they have ever been before. I can assure you it's coming. I can assure you if you see me and Dan talking right here, I can assure you as you watching my orange shirt that I have on right now, that it is coming. Because I went through it in 2008 and 2009. And the company I worked for, I was in debt relief services, B2B sales there. Like within 60 days, they cut half of the company. It was a fairly large company. Half of the company was gone, out the door. You come into the office, your next door neighbor, they're not there anymore. What happened to everybody? Now, if you're one of the top salespeople in the entire company or the top salesperson, where do you think you're going? You're not going anywhere. You're going to be the last person outside that office. Like it's going to be you and the owner, and that's it. Like the executive
recession-proof.
Everything, they're all gone because if there's no sales, there's no business, right? So you're going to be the last one there. Now, all the average salespeople, all the below average salespeople, guess where they're going to be? They're going to be on the chopping block. They're going to be gone. I can assure you.
Going back to selling fitness.
I can assure you, as a matter of fact, as you're watching me, they will be gone. And it happened in the company I was with. Like in 2008, full disclaimer, I made about $785,000 in commissions that year. In 2009, the year that it really went down, because it really happened in November of 2008. It's like 2 months left. 2009 is really where it went to rock bottom everywhere. That year, I made $1.35 million in commissions. I almost doubled my income. Salespeople in my company, if they survived, which half of them didn't, most of the people that survived, their incomes went down between 30 and 60%. So if they made 150 grand the year before, this next year they're making 90. If they made 90 the year before, this year they're making 55. If they made 55 the year before, this year they're making 33. I can assure you the laydown sales will not be there. They will be cut by 80 to 90%. So unless we learn more advanced questioning, more advanced tonality that gets our prospects to open up and want to engage, guess what's going to happen, boys and girls, when their session's coming? You have no control of your destiny. And that is a scary place to be. Now, you learn advanced skills like, that we have here with our clients that are in the same industry you are, and you start making 2, 3, 4 times what you're making now. Even if your company goes out of business, you won't have a care in the world. Why? Because you'll be recruited by 50 other companies that are gone. That's the difference. So true. That's the power with learning advanced skills. All right, Dan. Any last words of advice you have for anybody listening on here? We've got business owners, entrepreneurs, people. What advice would you give them? Just raw advice.
I can only speak from experience.
Yeah.
If someone was in construction, that is introverted,
which you are,
that had no clue how to do sales, right? And read a ton of books and just purchased like just small trainings from $100 to $50 Do you really feel like that is going to get you to where you want to go? Because the outcomes that you want in your life, everyone wants to be a top 1% top producer in sales. No one's saying I'll be number 50, right?
It wants to be in the middle.
If you're asking yourself for a big outcome, it's going to require bigger decision on your behalf to get there, especially if you're getting prospects to get their own way. So I believe that there's an element of congruency in sales. If you're asking people to invest into your product or service or program, and you haven't done that yourself, how can you sit there and walk someone through how to overcome their own fear if you've never done that yourself? So my only advice, if I had to go back, is why didn't I invest sooner in learning better skills?
Where would you be now financially if you had not invested?
I probably wouldn't be in sales. I'd probably be working at like my family's bakery, if anything. Right. And when you understand the consequences and ramifications of your current situation, if you never solve it, and you got to be 100% real with yourself.
Yeah.
If that is what you're worth, like if that is what you're worth, and if that's what's worth selling for, and that outweighs the funding required, why not do something about your situation, right? Because that's what you're doing to your prospects if you're in sales and you're an ethical salesperson. So why not go all the way and learn these advanced skills and just take your market share as everyone deserves?
Well, hey, when you learn more advanced skills, the great thing about, besides just making money, because that's all good, but the greatest thing is you're able to do what? You're able to help way more of your prospects solve their problems and get where they want to go. If you can't sell to them because you don't have the skill sets to do that, guess what happens to them? They stay in the status quo, their problems stay the same, and nothing ever changes for them. That is our responsibility as the sales professional, to be able to communicate them in a manner that gets them to see what gap they have and how you can help them solve that so they get where they want. If we haven't learned the skills to do that with our prospects, why are we in sales then? We are letting our prospects down if we can learn how to communicate them, to get them over edge, to get them where they want to go. Dan, thanks for being on here. It was a special surprise to have you on here. I appreciate
Thank you, Jeremy.
Short notice with Matt being on the flight over here. Congratulations. Savage of the quarter. You've helped
Thank you very much.
Tons of businesses get where they want to go. So I wanted to congratulate you. And that nice Breitling watch is in the mail on the way to the Perth, Australia office. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. I just want to give a quick shout out to yourself, Jeremy. This wouldn't be possible without, I guess, like you. It's genius what you do, right? Is absolutely phenomenal. I want to give a big shout out to the team. This is not possible without the team. From the DM setters, Michael Cortesi, who's Chief Revenue Officer and my best friend, Ace, every single person that has been incorporated, Matt himself, James Sackle, our COO. We all are just a well-oiled machine, and this one's for you guys. So I'm going to continue to learn, continue to develop my skills, and just help a ton of people, because the conversations that we have, they're beautiful at the end of the day. They're not like, there's no pressure. People actually thank you because you're doing them the best thing that they can possibly do without even seeming like you're even in a sales conversation. Like so that's a testament to what you learn.
Yeah, I mean, you guys have the keys of the kingdom that really unlocks the door of a salesperson's or a business owner who's trying to scale, or even a sales manager trying to get their teams to scale. You have the power. I don't want to say the power, but you have the keys to the kingdom that once they unlock that door and they get into that training, their potential just comes tenfold of what they thought they could do as a sales professional. So we couldn't do it without you guys, with you leading the team and everything. So congratulations on the promotion, lead account executive. Congratulations for all you do. Now, just so you know, you might not know this, I will be flying over to the Sydney, Australia office early fall. So you better get your buns over from the Perth office to the Sydney office to visit me.
I will be there.
I don't know if I can go from the Sydney office to the Perth office. It's like I'll be flying for like weeks trying to get to you all, you guys. So
we'll meet each other in Sydney, Jeremy. There won't be a problem with that.
I get to the Sydney office. You better get your butt from Perth over to the Sydney office, my man.
I promise you.
Come there for about a week and a half. All right.
I promise you, Jeremy. Dinner on me.
All right, brother. Thanks everybody for being on. Thanks, Dan Van, the man. You have the coolest name on planet Earth. You're a blessed person having that first and last name. It just even rhymes. Dan Van, the man. I love it. Now, look, you're a sales professional listening to us right now, or let's say you're an account executive like Dan for your company. You're a sales manager, or a VP of sales, or a chief sales officer, or let's say you own the company, or you're a shareholder or a board member, and you want to get your company, your team to sell more of their products and services. And look, you want to prepare now for the recession that's coming. We all know it's coming. When the government says there's no worry about a recession, that means we're already in a recession. Let's just be honest. If you were in 2008 and 2009, every government in the world said, there's no problems, everything's good, no recession. And then the next day, press conference, we've got to have $5 trillion to save the economy. It's Armageddon. What just happened? You guys just said there was no recession, and now the next day there was a recession. I don't understand. So we all know what's coming next. So as a business owner, as a sales manager, as an individual salesperson, we can either prepare for that and create our own destiny by having advanced skills where it doesn't matter what happens, we're going to outsell everybody. Or our other option is what? Rely on the government, hope and pray a recession doesn't happen, which we all know is going to happen. So instead of relying on your favorite politician or president to save you, or prime minister to save you, why not rely on your own sales ability and skills? Because that you can control. You can't control anything but that, right? So I'll leave you to that. So look, you want to learn more advanced skills or even start checking us out, the best place to first go is our Facebook group. Go to salesrevolution.pro. So www.salesrevolution.pro, salesrevolution.pro. We'll have a link here to join. Join that for free. You got about 26,000 or so people in that Facebook group. We started about a year ago, business owners, entrepreneurs. You know, you might be following me on IG or something, or TikTok. That's a good place to start. Right when you join the group, check your DMs, check your Facebook Messenger. Somebody on my team will message you over a free training called the NEPQ 101 mini course. It's just a list of a group of questions, NEPQ process. That alone will help you sell more than what you're doing now. And we go live in the Facebook group about 3 to 4 times a week with different trainings, different Q&As, different little hors d'oeuvres, little nibbles we give out to you. And you're welcome to go through that. Or you want to start learning advanced skills like thousands of our clients are learning right now that are making 2, 3, 4 times what you're making in your industry you are selling in right now, then you just DM us in there. You can always book with one of our account executives. We got tons of them all over the world in different offices, and they'll find out what your situation is, what your gap looks like from where you are compared to where you want to be, and then give you different training options that you can get involved with us if you want to sell more. That will help you get to that level. So Dan, thanks for being on here. And everybody, until next time, this is another episode of Closers Are Losers. We are out. Thanks, Dan.
Thank you, Tim.
Hey guys, if you enjoyed these, here's another you can watch right over here, right over here. Join our free Sales Revolution group. Click the link below, join us, and we're going to help you. Thanks for watching. We'll see you real soon.